My name is Shirley Self, and I'm here to talk astrology. Tonight I want to talk about the journey of the soul. This is William Butler Yeats' system of the education of the sun, as he called it, the way of the soul between the sun and the moon. Astrology's hard. I started studying astrology in about 1970 because, well, at the time I'd been studying psychology, and one 1 hour session with a friend who didn't know astrology that well but had a really good book, Isabel Hickey, told me more, gave me more insights into what was going on with me than psychology had done at all, ever. So I dropped psychology and took up astrology. Astrology's hard. I happen to love numbers and use numbers to comfort myself. I count things. I know it's weird. It's probably a sign of some mental derangement, but numbers comfort me. And so I like astrology because I like numbers. The thing about this system is, this system will tell you what you're doing. Astrology tells you how you're doing it. And one of the difficult things in astrology is finding the relative powers of your energies, your forces, your planets. Is checking them out for just how powerful and effective they are. And the thing about this system is that it gives you clues as to where you seek your inspiration, your creative genius, it's called. What you need to make yourself complete so that you can struggle successfully in your life. And that's called the mask, or what you have to watch for that isn't always helpful to you, and that's called the body of fate. And they're assigned in here, like I'm here at 14, and up there is my creative genius. And here's my body of fate over here at moon phase 2, and my mask at moon phase 28. Now, so I can look for planets or whatever zodiacal sign is over there where my help or my danger is, and I can get greater perspective on how my planets are interacting with each other and how they should be interacting with each other. One thing that it talks about is how best to use your energies, and I found most helpful is how you squander your energies and how you avoid doing the work of your moon phase. That's called the false mask and the false creative genius. It's ways of avoiding doing the growth that's required here, the work that's required here. This is work here. Yeats said that when you're born into this life, there's sorrow on the other side. And when you die in this life, there's joy on the other side. Welcome home. This is hard. What we're doing here is difficult, being in body. It's also, we're divided in two. We're of two minds. The left brain and the right brain are antagonistic often to each other. Struggle for dominance. The right brain is run by the moon, which the right brain kind of runs the left side. So the right brain is run by the moon and is it's your subconscious, and the left brain is ruled by the sun, and that's your logical mind. And logical mind, the solar mind, knows everything that has happened to it, and it is done and learned in this life, but doesn't know any of the past. The moon, that's what resides in the moon. The subconscious, understand that experience, every bit of experience that you gain is given to you in the next lifetime as its instinct. You're and so one of the wonderful things that I find in here is how do you, how your instincts are read by the moon. The what happens in what's in your environment and how things are in your environment is recognized by the physical body and analyzed by the instincts. And it's the moon that picks up on this. It's the subconscious mind that pays attention to your instincts, to your physical clues. So, but the problem with the moon, as far as the sun is concerned, as far as the left brain is concerned, the problem with the moon is that it's always making it do some work. You should get out there and you mow the lawn. You had this project and you really wanted to do it. You need to get on with it, your life, do something. And because the sun is a lazy, just wants to roll around heaven all day. And if it's accomplished anything, like if it's managed to survive, it's a happy camper. It's the moon that kicks sun's ass and says, you need to do this. And so because the moon that's also the seat of the emotions, and the emotions are what are telling the sun to get busy. The sun generally finds the emotions problematical, and there are many phases that fear the emotions, like here and here. These people are because the emotions are just busting their ass seriously. The moon phase 18 can absolutely be drowned in the emotions. So anyway, that's the argument, the way of the soul between the sun and the moon. That argument between the sun and the moon, it makes you grow, and it's what grows is soul. And soul is your ability to communicate with your daemon. Soul is expressed in love. Through soul is virtually your ability to know what's really going on, because you have access to your daemon. Now, your daemon is your guardian angel, and but much more than that, because in the demonic consciousness is everything that's ever happened to you through all your cycles, and it knows it knows where what it wants you to do, and what you have been doing, and that's available through the moon. The moon, the subconscious, the imagination, is how is the creative power of God, and it is how we can contact the gods and the greater reality through demonic consciousness. Now, if you've ever read any of the Seth books, or read the works of Jane Roberts, and she channels Seth, and he talks about the daemon a lot, and he said that the daemon actually has more than you under is the daemon's the puppet master. It sets up what you do, and if you can listen to your daemon and follow your daemon's guidance, you will be incredibly successful in your life. So the system is powered by the energy of the Demogorgon. The Demogorgon, I've talked about the Demogorgon before. Let me kind of recap here. The Demogorgon was invented by one of the gods, one of the goddesses, actually, because let's face it, without the goddess, there is nothing created, because she is everything all materials, all potential available. And so she gets the blame. We always get the blame. And this energy that the goddess created was a very violent and wrathful energy. And what made it so violent and wrathful was because it felt incomplete. It did not know what it was. It did not know it was part of God. And that left a hole so big in the heart of this animal, this energy, that it is simply, the energy is simply the desire to fill that emptiness is so great that it comes out as wrath. And so the sun is powered by the wrath of the Demogorgon. And we see that wrath in Mars. Mars is the minion of the sun. So let's see. So what we're doing here is we're bringing the unconscious energy of the Demogorgon back into consciousness of the whole. And by that mean not H-O-L-E, but W-H-O-L-E. And when we get that energy here, and, well, actually it's dumped into us here. And that's what makes Moon Phase 2 so violent. Because these phases here are unusual in that they're simply results and of the previous phase, and what has to happen there is that the person at Moon Phase 1 or 8 or 15 or 22 has to just get bored with being having perfected what it is perfected, and move on, explore a whole new. I mean, once you've gone through this, your Moon Phase 7 is the master of Earth. And Moon Phase 14, the master of the imagination. Moon Phase 15, the master of the intellect. And Moon Phase 28, Merlin, the master of spirit. The Merlin phase, this is virtually the Mercury of the philosophers that we're building here. We're returning the energy of the Demogorgon to consciousness, and in doing so, we've created something that is uniquely human. Each of us and each of our cycles creates one block of philosopher's stone. This is a block that is adding to the edifice of human consciousness. This is a thing that is purely human, and your own philosopher's stone is from your own point of view, from your own perspective. The will at Moon Phase 1 is a brand new will, a will to be, a goal, will with a goal, will to do. And that brand new will is decided upon here at the end of this cycle. What are we going to do next? Each moon phase follows very logically and works upon what the previous phase accomplished. In Moon Phase 1 is a spiritual, what they call the physical manifestation of spiritual perfection. Moon Phase 1 is has to simply get tired of that spiritual perfection and decide to explore the physical world. In order to do that, the Moon Phase 1 has to realize that the physical, understand that these people up here sacrifice the physical body. They are, well, evil Knievel. You know, they are, these people, Chuck Yeager, the man who broke the sound barrier. These people are sacrifice the body for, often for the greater good. They're martyrs quite often. And actually there's a lot of martyrdom worked into that spiritual quarter, the fire quarter. So anyway, getting back to moon phase 1, this very spiritual being has a brand new goal in life, that one. To be a moon phase 15, to have conquered and made useful physical energy, to have conquered and made useful emotional energy, which is the imagination, the moon. So this one is ruled by Mars. Mars is the solar hero. This is the hero's journey. If you have what was his name? He did that program with Bill Moyers on mythology, and if you read any of his books, what is that man's name? Delightful man. He's dead now, of course. He was a moon phase 10 down here. It's amazing how those myths will tie in with what's going on in this journey of the soul. So here moon phase 2, that's where that physical level of the wrath of the Demogorgon is dumped into this body, and these people deal with a great deal of violence in their physical body. They have to, and the way they have to, they virtually have to find out what it's interested in. Your dose of the wrath of the Demogorgon has its own desires, and it is added to you, who have over lifetimes and many cycles developed your own desire nature, your own unique nature, and this is added on. Your nature, all these cycles are in your instinct. And these people are very attuned to the physical body. This is the physical quarter. Instincts. And so that when that wrath gets dumped in, the moon phase 2 just needs to run around and find out what wrath really likes to do, because it's got its own desires. And if problem moon phase 2 will be can be that they because they are so incredibly instinctively wise about things, that they can be a moon phase 16, which is over there, whom Yeats called the most brilliant of people. And so when that'll make these people really lazy, and if they're lazy, they're mean. The moon phase 2 just needs to stay active and to do whatever is available, whatever needs done, because they need to explore that energy. So what you do at 2, and so at 3, the energy has talked to you enough so that you can develop some kind of ambition about, okay, I think I'll take this energy out into the world. This is a hard one, because when you take that energy out into the world, you turn your back on the family, what had been, what had nurtured and nourished you there. You turn your back. Moon phase 3 is a phase of great loss. 3, 13, 17, and 27, they all have to turn their back on something and pursue and go forward. And so this one, moon phase 3, has to follow their ambitions out into the world. Moon phase 4 has pretty much honed what it is they want to do out in the world, and all they have to do is do it. This is the wisdom of desire. And so what we've done in these first 3 phases is they've discovered the energy and found a path that this energy wants to take. The next 3 phases take that energy and perfect it and tune it to their own ends. personalize it in a way that individualize it. So that's 7, moon phase 7 is called Master of Earth, because they have conquered Earth. And the moon phase 7 that I have known of are masters of Earth. So you come to moon phase 8, and okay, now this is a completion. These people just are at the top of the pecking order here. They're at the top of the family. This pretty much has to do with family. These people are at the top of the family. These people have gone out into the world, and the family has benefited from what they have done out there. And these people have, George W. Bush was right there. John Fitzgerald Kennedy was right there. But this 8 and 22 are not so comfortable. These 1 and 15 are phases of peace. And what they have to do is get bored with the peace and want to get on with it. These are phases of war. And why that happens is because your creative genius is the will and the mask are always opposite each other. And the creative genius and the body of fate are always opposite each other. And when the moon phase, when the will and the body of fate connect, then that's very uncomfortable. And it causes, because there's a war on the inside of the person about, but I really want to do what I want to do. I don't want to do what you want me to do, even though I'm so good at doing what you want me to do, and you applaud me and feed me and love me because I do what you want me to do. I really saw this in George W. Bush. His North Node was conjunct Uranus, and that says, no, I beg to differ. But the North Node, like I say, the North Node's hard. The North Node is what you use in order to get you out of the mess that you're in. But trust me, the first instinct will be to head for the South Node and do what you've always previously done. Call Mom and see if she'll bail you out. Okay. Anyway, so these phases of war have to get bored with being at the top of the ladder and be willing to dive into this is really uncomfortable territory for Mars. And more proves very damaging to moon phase 8 and 22. It's a real hard phase. What can I say? So when moon phase 9, so that's when the emotional level, the water level, is dumped into the body, mind, and so moon phase 9 has to deal with incredibly active imagination that can be hard to deal with. And the way they have to deal with it is to learn to focus it, to learn how to, they've got to start to tame the imagination. And that's what happens, these first 3, this triad they're called, is the virtual taming of the imagination. Here's what happens at moon phase 11. At moon phase 11, some trauma will happen to moon phase 11 and will drive the emotional nature in. It will, the solar nature will still be looking out there, and the emotional nature will be going, oh my God. But when that emotional nature goes in, it discovers its spiritual powers. It discovers, it discovers that is Persephone. It's the story of Persephone. It's the story of moon phase 11. So what has to happen here at moon phase 11, which is an initiation phase? I mean, when you go through these two phases, the past is gone. All the mistakes you made should be, there's opportunity to rectify them and to bring yourself into a whole new, because by this time, what happens in moon phase 11 and 12 is that you discover your creative power. And the thing that you're going to create is a new you. So moon phase 11 has to, the solar mind has to look down, has to go in and discover that it is powerful. Discover the lunar mind. It has to virtually seek the subconscious so that it can find its power again. Because it has virtually lost public power and needs to find its personal power. So that's what happens in this. This is virtually the taming of the imagination. And this is the turning of that imagination into a power, a personal power. This is the creative power. Learning to use your imagination is the creative power of God. And it is the creative power of man. Because nothing comes from the solar mind that has not been given to it by the lunar mind, the imagination. Nothing good comes. The solar mind is a lazy, satisfied with whatever it has managed to accomplish, and it is the lunar mind that gives it its creativity. So we come to moon phase 15. That's you've created this new person. Like here, all this has created this new person. So here you've created a new person, and you'll hang out there. It's called beauty, and you'll hang out there for as long as you want, as long as you can, before you say, well, okay, what do I want to accomplish in the world? It's virtually a moon phase 16. That's when that energy, that intellectual energy, is dumped into you, and what moon phase 16 has to do is to invent itself its own life. It has to create. Remember, it's got to use these powers here that just it's got to create a new life for itself, a life that is unique, and not a regimented life, a life that other people live, but a life that is unique, that is follows its own path, follows its own desires. So these are the politicians. The intellect is imagining a new world. It started with moon phase 16 is how can I make myself my own life. I want to create my own world, my own life. By the time you get to, and the ideal life, this has all been built on the ideal that was discovered at moon phase 12. Moon phase 12 is an initiation phase in which you virtually kill your pig. The rituals of Persephone and Demeter, their pig is very prominent in those rituals, because what they're doing is to raise your aspirations from simply, the sun has two levels of aspiration. One is survival, and the second one is to be of service. And that's what this initiation, the initiation of Persephone, the initiation of the Elysian fields, did was it killed the pig. All of that selfishness, and you were given a new goal to be of service. Well, notice it's moving into Virgo, And that's what Virgo is all about, is how do I be of service? So so these people here, this triad here, is perfecting the ideal image of who I can become by working harder than I have ever worked in my life, who I can become by striving. And so Moon Phase 14, which I am at, and Donald Trump is at, is we are putting the following touches on our perfect and ideal person. I know, it's much more obvious in me, right? So Moon Phase 15 is at peaceful full moon here. And at 16, we start to work on using this energy. Using this energy down here is a creative genius for people who are movers and shakers in the world. This is what these people want to do, is they want to rule the world. And they rule it by inventing theories, by having a theory on how I can, how the world really works, and therefore if I tinker with this and that. So these people make our laws, and spend our money, and try out their different theories. The sooner Milton Friedman's theory dies, the happier we all will be. Milton Friedman's theory of capitalism has led us to this terrible impasse in which most of us are poor and a few of us have so much money they can't count it. Anyway, so these people are running our government. And first they learn how to use that. They have to learn how to use their creative imagination in out there, in changing out there. And then these people are polishing their intellect. Their theories, these people are, we've got Al Gore and Bill Clinton right here. Teddy Roosevelt right here. These are powerful people, and they make the laws. Notice they're up there in Sagittarius, which is the judge, and that is also one of the words for the Moon Phase 20 is the judge. And so these people have perfected the intellect. When you get up here, though, here's the perfect intellect. These people are really powerful. But they've got to decide what to do with that intellect. What you've done here, notice we're into Capricorn, what you've done is created a structure. Virtually, you've created the bones. And what you're going to do here is you're going to give those bones spiritual muscle. What happens over here is that these people work mightily. These are the Merlin phases. This is where King Arthur runs amok. You know, he does whatever he does. And here's where these Merlins bring down the king. Virtually by the time they get over here, they have to deal with what they did over here. Okay. We had Thomas Jefferson was right here. Thomas Jefferson, problem with the Moon Phase 18, and the United States is a Moon Phase 18. And we see this problem of a Moon Phase 18 happening very much right now in our country. What an 18 has to do is to give up its tradition. It has to give up what traditionally worked in the past. It has to give up all that ideal stuff that it was running on in the past in order to focus its energy on changing the world. And so we've got Thomas Jefferson up there who at the end of his life regretted that he did not work for emancipation, because he saw the rise of the Southern faction, the power growing in the Southern faction as they wanted to expand slavery. And the problem that Thomas was having was he owned slaves and he was in love with a slave, and that, at least that's the rumor. And he was he couldn't do it. He could not emancipate his own slaves. He was always broke. He always he spent too much money. He lived too high on the hog, and so he couldn't do it. So what happens over here is that these people have to rectify the mistakes that were made over here. So over here we have Abraham Lincoln, who had to deal with what Thomas Jefferson did not deal with. So these are the Merlins. These are the people that bring down the king. These are the people that virtually rectify the mistakes that were made over here, because these people, at their best, care about these people here who are working to run the world. Oh, they care about the common people. These people up here are capable of saying, okay, for the common good, you and you and you must quarantine. They're able to do that. They've got that kind of a view of the world, what's best for the world. Moon phase 2027 is actually called, it's the saint. Yeats called it the saint. We've got the hunchback, the saint, and the fool. And these are virtually the ones that decide where the next phase is going to go, what it's going to be like, what it's going to do, looking at its own past. And that's what each one of these phases, the body of fate, okay, the body of fate for these phases is not that bad, because they're pretty clean. They started over. And so the body of fate pretty much is, it just simply offers them what they need to in order to do their work, which often is a pile of shit, virtually. But it's there, and if that's what they have to work with, it's there for them. I mean, this is a benevolent body of fate. Over here on this side, and it gives to the Merlins enough work, because what they're to do is they're to rectify. They're the revolutionary. Here's the revolutionary. They're to rectify the mistakes of over here. So all this is considered a benevolent body of fate over here for the Merlins. It's because there's an awful lot you can do here. Yes, a lot of mistakes were made. What these people have to do is they have to watch out, because their body of fate is not so benevolent. The mistakes made over here really harass these people over here. My own body of fate over here is the powerful, fierce moon phase 2. I would even say reckless moon phase 2. That is my body of fate. And so, and that violence that is of moon phase 2 has been I would say available all my life, and I've had to watch out for it. And I am now I am broken up from a violent childhood. Well, it was my own fault, most of it. Riding horses too fast, being reckless. Like Moon Phase 9 has got to watch out for Moon Phase 7, because Moon Phase 7 is knows what's best in the world. And Moon Phase 9 can get overdosed because the body of fate offers it such a banquet that moon phase nines will get fat if nothing else, make wrong choices, and be distracted from what they're supposed to be doing, which is focusing that imaginative energy into something that they understand. That what this does give them is it gives them tremendous physical prowess. I was looking for a moon phase 9 when I was studying and writing the book. I was looking for a moon phase 9, and there weren't a lot of them. John Lennon is one. But before I found John Lennon, I was in a cemetery in Oklahoma, and it was a circus cemetery. The circuses had wintered there in that little town in Oklahoma, and we were touring the cemetery because it was so interesting. It had elephants, and it was just a very interesting cemetery. Anyway, I took a picture of my cousin and her husband beside this one headstone, a very elaborate headstone. And when I got home with it, I thought, well, I think I'll see what the horoscope was. Now, you couldn't find out the time. There was no time on the tombstone, but there was a date, a birth date, and I looked it up. And it was a moon phase 9. It was a tightrope walker. A tightrope walker. Now, you talk about focus, and you talk about physical prowess. I was delighted. Anyway, the 9s that I know are incredible. They are very physically adept at whatever it is they want to do. They just have to focus those energies on something that they want personally to accomplish. So that, just like in moon phase 2, they have to find out what that creative, inventive energy wants to, where it wants to go. So, so we've got their mental energy up here, and what can happen with these people is that they can be overwhelmed by the imagination. Their imagination. They're supposed to use that creative imagination. They're supposed to use it by inventing their own perfect lifestyle. But the imagination can run amok with them and hurt them, hamper them greatly. And up here we've got the spiritual energy that simply needs to, moon phase 22 has to decide what direction it wants to go in here. You can either go into the physical or you can go into the spiritual. The physical, we've got Mr. Chrysler, who upgraded the line to build the cars. He upgraded it so that it was much easier on everybody, and so we've got martyrs here. We've got Gandhi. We've got George Washington here. These are revolutionaries in moon phase 25. But I've been talking about, so they can go to martyrdom. The moon phase 22 has to decide whether it's going to take a spiritual path or a physical path. Moon phase 23 has to get off its high horse and come down and deal with, it has to come back into the world. By the time you get up here, these people are very distant. They're way in their heads. They're not involved in the physical that much. I mean, there are exceptions, but this is their mask over here. This is what they have to. This is what they have to accommodate and take to themselves in order to be successful in the world. Is they have to take the physical into consideration. I mean, if you're gonna go messing with the laws, messing with politics, this is what's important. These are the happiness of everybody. This is whether or not you eat, whether or not you have any money, etc. So that's what, this is the mask for these people up here. What their body of fate is these people can hurt themselves spiritually by being hypocrites, by having the moon say, no, 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 you should go this way, but the sun says, no, I want power. So what happens is it costs them spiritually. It's called loss of soul. And so you can look at our politicians and say, oh, poor baby. So what you've built when you get over here is you've built a philosopher's stone, your contribution to the consciousness of humanity. And the consciousness of humanity is available. It's you have to go into the astral plane, but it's all there for you. These people here in 11 and 12, that's what they're doing, is they're going into they're going into themselves, into their own spiritual center, and finding the way into anything you want to know. This is where you gain the spiritual power to consciously talk to your daemon. Now understand, I'm not limiting that to these people, because over here, this is their body of fate. Up here, this is their creative genius. Over here, this is their mask. So you want to be of help. Moon phase 12 needs to be of help to people. The hunchback. The hunchback sees. Moon phase 12 needs to learn to see, which is the talent, the ability of moon phase 26. It sees so well that it's often horrifying. So anyway, that's why I want you to learn the system, because once you learn what your job is and what help you have, say you're moon phase 5, your help is over here at 11 and 19 and 25. There's your help. There's what you get to deal with. And you can find it in your chart. And the thing about the moon phases is it gives you a context for your astrology. Anyway, that's why I think you should learn it. And I'm going to talk more and more about it. But the book is online, and it's cheap. The reason it's not published, I really think, it wasn't because I'm such a bad writer, because I'm actually not that bad. The book is a little bit severe. It doesn't coddle you at all. Once it says something, it moves on. I was incredibly repetitious, but it was a 600-page book, which my friend Michu helped me pare down to 300 pages. So it's jam-packed, but it's available. And if you get the book and you watch me, I will help you through it. There's an awful lot in the book that I have not talked about. Maybe I will get to talking about it eventually. There are all sorts of interesting details about these different things that once you know, all you have to do is look at a horoscope. You know, your husband, your kid, your antagonist. Look for that symbol of Fortuna, and you will know their moon phase. and you will know an awful lot about them. You will know an awful lot about them, and you can look at them and see whether they're doing it right or not. So, I will talk more about, maybe get into more of the specifics about the different phases next time. Anyway, I hope you're dealing well with the pandemic. I hope you're staying safe, wearing your mask, and be kind to each other. And wave hi when you drive by. Blessings upon you, and stay safe. Bye-bye.